Ladies and gentlemen, guess what? It's game number 2 because I forgot it was Sunday. Ratpack versus Oxygen NA. We just saw a very decisive victory towards the end of that match. I mean, a shaky start for Oxygen NA at about the 25 to 30 minute mark. They were like, hey, we're done playing around. Let's turn it on and let's start winning these engagements, looking for picks, taking the orb prime, landing a sick, nasty, dope
Whoa,
trademarked by
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Shane.
whoa. Thank you. Thank
Trademarked
you.
by Shane.
You owe me some
Containment
royalties
defense
now.
on 4. Containment defense on 4, followed up by a make it rain, blew up the inhibitor, and said, I don't see your core no more, and killed it. Killed it very quickly. Shane, game number 2.
That's right,
game
man.
number 2. What does Ratpack have to do to win?
Not all 5 suddenly die within 5 seconds with their mid inhibitor going down. I think that'll go a long way. I think draft a little bit smarter. I think it came down to the draft. They allowed for a draft with not a great deal of crowd control, and through that allowed IMSCO the strength of Sparrow to shine through a delayed game. It just was this. I feel like Sparrow was symbolic for how that game went. She's this hero who just ramps, and then all of a sudden, boop, you just win. That's Sparrow.
Cash me outside.
Right? Cash me outside. That's pretty much Sparrow at that point in time. Might want to work on that tier 4 skin right there. Epic. Just an idea. Just an idea.
How about that? I apologize.
It's fine, man. We got to keep our meme game up to point. We have to keep up with the 2017 memes. This isn't 2009 where we have the oh really owl, man. It's 2017. We got to make sure we're up to date with the memes right there. But yeah, I think it came down to the draft. They didn't have much. Their big forms of crowd control were Black Hole and Kwang Tether, which are not reliable whatsoever. So I think maybe, I mean, in what situation, whom could they have drafted who granted them crowd control? Maybe instead of a Muriel, pick up a Narbash with that Crash Bang Boom and the Thunk. I think that would have been a really great choice. But of course, they picked up Muriel very early on in that draft, which we felt was a denial pick, so that way they couldn't run that off-lane Muriel. But at that point, it's like, oh, it can't get Muriel and Narbash. So I think it boils down to the draft. Ratpack, we've seen, are capable of executing, and I mean, they've gotten to the finals. I believe it was Paragon Competitive League #1. They've been 3rd place. We've always seen them here before. So I think if they're able to draft a little bit smarter, I think they can absolutely take this to a game number 3. It's not a matter of execution. The weakness was in their draft. The weakness was in their lane configuration.
Yeah, I think I would have actually liked to see, which we don't see a lot of, but Richter over a Narbash.
That's true.
I mean, kind of separate, pull IMSCO in, zone somebody off. So hopefully we see that hero come out this particular draft. But I mean, I'm expecting a Steel ban again. I'm expecting a Decker ban again, or possibly a Rampage ban again. So it's going to be interesting to see how this draft particularly plays out, and who, if those heroes aren't banned, who gets Decker, who gets Rampage, who gets Steel.
Yeah, and speaking of draft notch, we're just gonna go ahead and do as you like to say, do the thing. We're gonna do the thing. We're gonna get we're gonna get into the draft. Game number 2 already. We see Ratpack batting at the Steel, and I mean, I think I won't be surprised to see Severog or Rampage. It actually, I wanted to say Oxygen and actually at the same time, and it came out as Oxygen NA banning out Greystone. Ratpack, specifically Crown, is the only player this weekend who has run Greystone. So prioritizing that hero over Severog, over Rampage, over Decker, that's an outright respect ban coming out from Team Oxygen North America right there.
But it leaves Decker and or Rampage open, and first pick, I believe, is
we're gonna see, man. It's gonna be Rampage. I think that's no surprise whatsoever.
Yeah, so Ratpack picks up Rampage right off the bat, but next pick, I mean, I'm guaranteeing, I will guarantee Decker gets picked up next.
Well, of course, they have Marty Rivia on their team, and of course, Decker's very, very strong. Decker and Severog, so I'm assuming that's going to be Guy on meds on that Severog and Marty on that Decker. Don't be deceived, those guys. We've seen some big mix-up when it comes to the roles of heroes in Paragon Competitive League #3 this weekend. But as of right now, if these guys are going what we can even dare say call standard, it'll more than likely be a support Decker and a jungling Sevarog. We'll see as the draft develops. Rampage picked up. We've seen him support. We've seen him jungle. Offlane isn't unheard of. We don't see that as often, but he can thrive in that lane as well. But you take a look at Pochapa. He played a very patient zone control Rampage. You take a look at where we've seen a guy on meds when he played Rampage. He was hyper-aggressive jungle Rampage. Jay Leo played it very similar to that. What's great about this hero is his ability to be put in many different roles, and not only that, but cater to many different play styles. Murdoch and Howitzer are going to be the pickup there, so Boulder into the long arm of the law. Any sort of CC sets up that long arm of the law and really plays into Murdoch's global presence.
And also allows R2000, arm of the law, R2000 combos really well off of Boulder as well. So there's a lot of combo potential there. Excuse me. So are we going to see Ram Riddles pick up? I'm actually curious because Muriel was banned before because Ram Riddles played an aggressive offlane Muriel.
Yeah.
Do we see another double support game with Steel being gone? Do we see that initiation coming out of Ram Riddles as from the
there it is,
Universal
Notch. We're going to see it again. We saw it yesterday of their game versus Organized Confusion, which was a wonderful game. The VODs for day one, by the way, of the group stages are all up on our official YouTube. So make sure you use that ! command VODs or YouTube, and you'll be able to head over there. Sub to our official YouTube channel, guys, for future content and all previous broadcasts. I digress. But we saw this before. Muriel in the offlane, Ram Riddles building damage, a support decker.
Yep. Man, Shane, Ram Riddles 1v1'd, it was Kalari, but he 1v1 Kalari, pushed a tier 2 tower by himself on Mir. Builds her with a damage build with the adamant edges into an Honor of the Pure, plays a very hyper-aggressive Muriel.
Notch, my man. There it is. You talked about it, the lack of CC. I mean, Ratpack has a Rampage. They already had more CC than they had last game. But look at this. This is going to be a Richter. And it's not Phasma. Phasma, we love you, buddy. But you're the only guy who's been playing Richter. No longer the case. Ratpack is going to be pulling it out. And imagine this is going to be a support Richter. If Cameron Sundown is here, he's rooting for that jungle Richter. No doubts about it. But I think right now, judging by this roster, that's going to be a offlane Kwong, a jungling Rampage, a support Richter, Howie in the mid, and Murdoch picking up the range carry role. Or we could see the support carry going in the mid lane. But we'll have to see when we get into the game. At this point, it's all up in the air. Last pick for Team Oxygen, though, Notch. They have the Sevarog, Decker, Gadget, and Muriel. They need that range carry. Sparrow, I think, would be very risky here.
But Imsco, we watched it work well for Imsco last night. Yes, he got picked on early, but Imsco's comfortable with that hero. He's got a very good build with that hero. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Sparrow again. Especially because double support with he's got a lot more peel, I think, this time, and a lot more help this time than he had in the first game.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like picking a Sparrow against that much CC is just asking to get exploited. Even when they played Sparrow against a team who lacked CC, Imsco was still getting bullied in the early stages of the game, Notch. And that's and it is. They're gonna pick up that Sparrow, man. This right here speaks volumes about Team Oxygen's confidence to not only of Imsco's ability as a player, but their ability as a team to peel for him and provide the space he needs. They have the Muriel, they have the Decker, they have the Sevarog, all incredible means of crowd control to use both offensively, but in this context, defensively. Of course, Gadget with her speed gate as well, and Tesla Dome can be used as a zoning tool. It's going to be a battle of initiation versus counter-initiation here in these fights. At the same time, Team Oxygen have Gadget and Containment Fence. Tesla Dome with that ultimate can do devastating amounts of damage.
Yeah. Chain. I'm excited to see Ram Riddles in the off lane again as Muriel. I'm concerned for Ratpack only having one. I mean, Louis as maybe we see jungle. Wait a second. Maybe we see a jungle Richter.
Rip.
Did you break it?
I hit the transition button and everyone saw YouTube.
The tubes of you. Maybe we see a jungle Richter builds. It's going to be interesting. What is going on that screen there? It's going to be interesting to see how this particular game plays out. I'm excited to jump in. I'm at 5 seconds. I know you're ready as well.
I'm absolutely not. I'm still doing production things, so let's not make presumptions.
Oh,
So, Notch,
God. Yes, buddy?
this offlane Muriel, talk about when we saw it yesterday. What was its strengths? Why are we seeing offlane Muriel? What does she bring to the table that other offlaners don't, like a Greystone or a Kwong or what we typically see in that role?
Well, what we saw with Ram Riddles, when Ram Riddles was a lot of aggression. He was confident in his ability, one, to keep himself alive. He's building damage, so he's actually getting a surprising amount of damage out of this hero when it comes to her bubble. And her ability to push the lane and be aggressive was his ability. I mean, I should say with Ram Riddles on the hero was very strong, but it also, we saw him continuing to split push throughout the entire match and then reversal of fortune into a team fight. He was always there when his team needed him, but it allowed him to place pressure on other side of the maps. And he was underestimated because it's a Muriel, and who builds damage on Muriel, and why would she split push? And so the hero was very underestimated, and we took down a tier 2 tower. He took down a tier 1 tower, pushed a tier 2 tower, and then moved into a team fight. And the reversal of fortune, plus the speed boost, plus all of her kit, they're able to swing the team fight in their favor and then push down another tower and an inhibitor. So the way Ram Riddles plays this hero, just because Ram Riddles can do it stream doesn't mean you should do it. But the global
That's so far
presence
from the truth, it's ridiculous. Don't tell people not to be afraid to experiment. Are you out of your mind? Guys, experiment with the game. This game's in early development.
No.
Play with these cards. There's no rank system. There's no elo system in the game right now. Don't be afraid to go out there and experiment, man. Jungle Iggy. See what it does for you. Put Muriel in the off lane and have fun with the game. That's what the developers want right now. So let's talk about what they want. So we're about to transition. We're about to transition into this game, guys. I have the production stuff just about all set up here. Overall, looking at the draft, Notch, what do you think about this? Do you give one team an advantage over the other?
I give it to Oxygen right now. I think they have better crowd control. I think they have better combo potential, and I think they have great global presence with Ram Riddles on Muriel. I think, yeah, I have to give it to Oxygen. If Louis falls behind Shane, if Richter falls behind, he's just a liability when you move into the
very much so, yes. Very much so. He might be able to land a hook, but he'll die before anything else will happen.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's going to be Louis. It's the first time we've seen him play Richter, someone other than Phasma, come into the field. So someone's trying to contend that no contest best Richter in North America that Phasma has right now. But we're going to get into this game, Notch. I'm at 5 seconds. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, game number 1 was a back-and-forth tug of war that ended up with Oxygen A getting tired of that, pulling out a knife and cutting that rope right off and taking the game out from underneath the Ratpack after a series of very quick events. Let's introduce these teams. Involve's going to be on Howitzer, Louis on that Richter, Crown on Kwong, Bum on Rampage, Strafe on Murdoch, and that's Ratpack.
We've got Arsenic on Gadget, Imsco back on Sparrow, Marty Rivia, the best decker in the game. We're going to find out here in just a minute. We've got a guy on Meds on Sevarog, and Ram Riddles playing off lane Muriel. Shane, this is the one to watch for this particular match.
Absolutely.
He's going to be going up against, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be Louis on Richter and Strafe on Murdoch. I think we're going to see, again, another mid lane setup with Imsco and Marty in the mid lane. But Ram Riddle's early game, Shane, if Louis is able to land a hook, able to land that Riplash, do you think he's going to be able to survive the onslaught of that combo potential that Strafe and Louis have in this off-lane setup?
If he lands at pre-level 2, pre-level 3, I think so. Ram Riddles looks like he's leveled up, not sure of the UI. He either leveled up his Alacrity or his Serenity. So he has the speed boost, he has the shields to deal with the Riplash. Though it all depends on if that Riplash, which is Richter's hook, the name of Richter's hook, into the Murdoch trap. Then that's a very sticky situation, both literally and metaphorically. I think, though, Ram Riddles, that hook's hard to land, especially on Muriel, who's a very narrow model, and actually is very difficult to land. It's not a crunch, it's not a Narbash, where you can just kind of haphazardly throw it and be like, this is more than likely going to hit. Muriel's a very thin model, she has a very small hitbox, so it all comes down to Louis landing the hooks, and Ram Riddles being able to dodge them, just due to the nature of Richter being a very, very difficult hero to master and be consistent on, I think Ramriddles is just going to sit here, get levels, farm, and he'll be okay.
I like the aggressiveness. I like that he just comes out and pushes the lane. He's not, he doesn't feel he needs to be under his tower. Ramriddles plays very hyper aggressive in this offlane position, no matter what hero he's on. And I love to see that. It gives him breathing room. It gives him room to go back and deal with take the outside jungle camp. He has to be careful here.
Yes,
because there's a rotation from Bum, who has a green buff, and Bum already has his boulder online. So Ramriddles may pay for this with his life.
They're looking for a hook. They're looking for anything. I think Ramriddles is starting to admit defeat at this stage of the game. I was saying I think Ramriddles is going to be just fine, but A, I wasn't expecting him to push that wave, and B, Bum came around that corner and pretty much just a textbook rotate, wrap around the corner. Didn't even need to hit the boulder on him, and got a first blood right there. Who was able to pick up that kill? Was it Strafe? It was not. It was actually Richter. I don't mind Richter picking up these kills right now, because he actually does the way Richter scales now on Legacy. I'm sorry, on Monolith, as opposed to when he did on Legacy. On Legacy, even if you built him damage, he still did no damage. He actually can, if he starts building, getting supplemental damage items, he can actually do quite a bit.
Yeah, surprisingly, quite a bit of damage there. Shane, I want to take a venture all the way to the other side of the map with me, if you will, Shane, over to Arsenic and in this lane here.
I was ready for you to like do a David Attenborough voice, to be like, and now we should go.
So we've got Arsenic here and Kwong. I gotta give this lane to Gadget. Sticky Bomb.
Oh yeah.
Search and Destroy.
Great song.
Destroy. It is a great song. Sticky Bomb, Seek and Destroy, Speed Gate, once he gets level 5 and has that Tesla Dome online, is really going to be able to bully Kwong out of this lane. But at the same time, Crown can be a little bit more aggressive, I think. And if he decides to push that aggression and keep Arsenic underneath the tower, if he hits 5 sooner, Gadget has to be careful, and that's what I think is going to happen. Arsenic is actually playing kind of safe. He's not keeping up this aggression. Maybe it's because he's at half mana and doesn't want to use his abilities, but I think he has to continue to be aggressive and really push this into Crown and keep Crown from pushing this lane out and getting that level 5 before him.
Taking a look at Crown's off-lane build, pretty much what we expect to see, that health potion, as well as the regen token. That's what it's called, right? Healer token, or rather.
Healer token.
And of course, the one thing that Kwong has that no other hero has is that intrinsic life still built into him, so that gives him great sustain, not only on his auto attacks, but as well as for his, what's known as spell vamp, getting lifesteal off of ability damage as well. So I think that right there, between those, the lifesteal and the healer token, that gives him amount of sustain that even with the Arsenic being aggressive with harassment, he can just heal up, use lifesteal, and continue to keep himself in lane, and that's pretty much been the case. He's going to eventually outlast that mana pool of Arsenic.
Yeah, which is what he's been able to do here. We are seeing a rotation from a guy on meds. If he's able to possibly pick up the kill, he is not going to land it. Crown is going to get under the safety of his tower. He's going to pick up these jungle camps and then back off. So we've seen one aggressive rotation at a Bum to help secure that kill on Ramriddles. We've seen a guy on meds with his first attempt there and unfortunately not able to pick up a kill. A guy on meds doesn't play the jungle the way we see Jay Leo or other junglers play it.
He has a distinct style, absolutely.
Yeah, he farms a little bit more. He farms till he hits about level 5, till he gets some stacks and some card power, and then we start to see him look for those ganks. Do you think that puts him at a disadvantage, or do you think it puts his team at a disadvantage the way he plays it?
Not at all. I think his team plays around it, and through playing around it, it's just a different style. That's simply all it is. It's not that it's better or worse than the other. They just have a different approach to the game, both the guy in meds as an individual player, and as well as his team adapting to that style and being a cohesive unit. That's what MOBAs are all about, is not just saying this is how you have to play the game, but rather saying this is how we are going to play the game,
right.
Which is what Epic has done such a good job developing the game. A quick shout out to them, not making this a Heroes of the Storm where they are saying this is how you play this hero and this is how you build him, and not adding variety. You know, variety is the spice of life. Variety is the spice of esports. Variety is the spice of Paragon, and I really like that we are already seeing it this early on into the development. It's a bright future for this game. Everyone involved right now, welcome. I'm glad that you're supporting it. Don't forget Matcherino. Head over that way But let's take a look at the farm here, Notch, just since there's only really been one kill on the Ramriddles. Ever since then, it's been sort of a sit back and farm, if there's any sort of discernible advantage on either side right now.
Right now, I mean, we're just going to be even. We've got Arsenic, who's at 10. He's 32 last hits. But for the most part, we're just seeing 9s and 10s across the board. Ramriddles has not backed yet to spend his card power. I think he will after he pushes this lane out here. But his ultimate is now online. So do we see more aggression coming out of Ramriddles? We'll find out in just a few minutes. Imsco going to go with that build we saw last time. A couple early Windcarver Blades into the Whirling Wands. And then right at the end, Shane, 48% crit. Yeah, it's very end, like right before he hits 60. He starts to go into that crit and lifesteal with a 1 crit card. He just maxes it out, 48 crit, and then picks up his lifesteal. Bum currently sitting on a Guardian.
Trouble. He's looking for the Make It Rain. Not going to happen. And Imsco. Both of those, Imsco and Evolve, were basically duking it out at that point in time. I think Imsco was going to fall there if Marty didn't show up. Thankfully, his support doing his thing. We haven't talked about this much in this game yet. I mean, seeing the ranged carry support in the mid lane is starting to become much more of the norm. The first time we saw it, we kind of raised our brow a little bit and questioned it. But, you know, I don't think you can really question its viability anymore here, Notch. It's done a really good job at pushing Evolve's farm back, especially on a mid laner, a mid lane hero who's much more reliant on farm. Gideon gets a lot of the farm, don't get me wrong, but Howitzer is much more of a semi-carry or full carry than Gideon is. Gideon kind of begins to fall off. Howitzer's the opposite. He ramps up as the game goes on. So they were able to deal with the Gideon last game that Evolve was playing. This time around, I actually think it grants them even more of an advantage than it did in game number 1.
So we've talked about rotations from mid lane to off lane, Shane, with 17 seconds. Yes, they're able to bully Howitzer here. Howitzer, I think, can defend the tower a lot better than Gideon could, and we're seeing that now.
Louis, as long as he lands this Whiplash, which he's going to do, he should be able to pick up kill. Ramriddles actually force out the ultimate. That's not necessarily that bad. Reversal of Fortune at level 1, I want to say, is a 2.5 minute, almost 3 minute cooldown. They didn't get the kill, but no Reversal of Fortune, which means their next gank tip is much more successful. Or has a likelihood of being much more successful, rather.
Much more successful, right. With this mid lane setup, back to the mid lane setup here, this allows Marty, once he hits level 5, more ability to rotate while providing Imsco with a safe way to farm. It allows your offlaners and your bigger ultimates, for example, Arsenic with Tesla Dome, to hit level 5 really quickly. Ramriddles with Reversal of Fortune hit level 5 really quickly. Your jungler's going to hit level 5 quickly, but you're hopefully denying Involve the ability to rotate and help support his offlane and safe lane, and that's what we've seen with this particular setup. And I think that's what makes this particular setup so important. Imsco's in a lot of trouble here. Slow grenades into a landmine. R2000's going to land. Imsco's trying to deal that damage. Marty needs... long arm of the law out of nowhere from Strafe. You think you're safe, and then you die.
I mean, I'm in fear for my life from Notch.
The long arm of the law.
Thank you.
You're welcome, buddy. So I think the reason we see this lane be so successful is because of the ability to keep Involved from rotating. And he doesn't really become a factor until we rotate into the late game.
Absolutely, that's a very good point. I didn't even take into factor there. So not only are they mitigating his farm, but they're also mitigating his presence on the map. So it's a double whammy right there. Whiplash not going to land onto Ramriddles, but they are going to be able to pick up that tier 1 tower around the 10.5 minute mark. Not as impactful as it would be on other offlane heroes because it's a Muriel, because she does have that global presence when Reversal of Fortune is offline. And looking at the build, he's at that 13 card point, soon to be at 14. It is going to be that build that we saw yesterday against Organized Confusion. And it's going to be that Adamant Edge with powers in it here, man. This is such a unique build, but I love that these guys are... This is clearly... Yesterday, we were like, okay, this may be like a situational draft where they can do the offlane Muriel. That doesn't seem to be the case. The strength of this, they believe, is very well-rounded, and we're going to have to see as this game goes on if they're going to get the same amount of success as they did against Organized Confusion. No doubt about it, Ratpack is a completely different beast than that team. are we going to see any adaptation of the build? There's just going to be, I think he went like 3 Adamant Edges. He went with the Hunter's Drink and the Shaman's Drink. Stayed in that off lane all game long. And the rest of his team played around Reversal of Fortune being up or not. They wouldn't force an engagement unless Reversal of Fortune was up. If it wasn't, they sat back behind their towers. They protected Imsco. They gave him Farn. They have that intrinsic advantage on the map because they are on the Dawn side. They have the Raptors closer to them, so they can take those a little bit more recklessly. And I think it's really, really interesting. Marty in a little bit of trouble. The Boulder did not connect. Long Arm of the Law did, though. Bum has the Enrage. The Reversal of Fortune actually interrupts his knockaway and actually subjugate, get him under the tower, but the Regen is keeping him alive. The ball does get taken out there at last minute by Imsco. Chasing down the Stasis Bomb to get him the 3. There's a 2-man skewer. Guyman's taking a lot of damage, but that may have forced Strafe into a very poor position. Imsco popping the inner fire, and that's going to force them to retreat. 2 go down for Ratpack. The first real engagement of the match. Crown showing up a little bit late to the party. Punctuality might not have been his strength right there, but 2 very key targets get taken out, and Oxygen North America to strike first in this game number 2.
2 key targets get taken out, and both of those kills actually go to Imsco, which gives him that advantage. So last game we saw him go 0-5-0 before he picked up kills. Right now he's at 2-1-0. He already is farming very effectively. 16 total card power. At about the 17 to 19 minute mark, we'll see them rotate and pick up all 3 Raptors and give those to Imsco. They do prioritize these Raptors. That's 1,000 card experience per Raptor, which gives him 1 full card level per Raptor, and gave him that massive 10 CXP advantage that we saw in the first game. So expect them to do that again. The thing I like about this setup, Shane, and the double support, if you will, with Ram Riddles on Muriel and Marty on
that is not let's be clear, that is not a support Muriel.
It's not a support, correct. It's not a support Muriel at all. She is what most people would consider a support, but with this particular setup, the aggression that this team can do, they don't have that front line of steel. They don't have that initiation of steel. But the way they can play, and as aggressive as they can be with Reversal of Fortune, with the extra speed shields, with the speed boosts, with the stasis bombs, they can be way more aggressive as they rotate into the late game than they could be in the first game. And I think that gives them another advantage when they can dictate the flow of the fights. About that 30-minute mark in game 1, they started dictating the flow of the fights. They really came online, and I think they can do that a bit earlier with Ram Riddles and that Reversal of Fortune.
Absolutely. Strafe has transitioned over a little bit here and going to be cleaning up this wave being pushed in by Ram Riddles. Muriel, I mean, the early game death by Ram Riddles really wasn't that much of an impact. I think it was more of just a wake-up call for Ram Riddles. Okay, I can't push a tier 1 tower by myself without an ultimate and without wards. He hasn't done it since, but they really haven't done much about this. To me, judging by how this game has gone thus far, I think Ratpack, one of 2 things are happening right now. They don't understand how to play around this offlane Muriel, or they simply don't respect it, don't care, and aren't threatened by it, and they've been focusing elsewhere. Arsenic, Reversal of Fortune, going to keep them alive. They're standing in the Tesla Dome. Very long, the full duration damage. Tesla Dome does a massive amount of damage right there. The miscalculation of that Reversal of Fortune is what cost him that fight, and a guy on meds was able to catch Louis on his aggress from that fight. And they also pick up the kill onto the support Richter. Again, that Muriel factor is winning him this engagement's notch.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenic was caught out. Arsenic was in a lot of trouble. The rotation was there. And Reversal of Fortune came in. He dropped the Tesla Dome. Reversal of Fortune was instantly queued up and onto Arsenic. Both of them got stunned for 1 full second. They took the full duration of Tesla Dome. A massive, massive amount of damage with that. They're able to pick up 2 kills. I think it goes what you said the first time. They don't respect it. And I think after that engagement, they will.
I believe Bummed was able to take one of those Raptors away. Nonetheless, 2 secured there for Oxygen North America. Looks like that did go over to Imsco, as he was at 20 card points just a moment ago. So a 2 card point lead completely off the heels of those 2 Raptors picked up. And I got to say, not only is Imsco farming well, but hats off to Arsenic as well. He's keeping up with Imsco, who's had a support decker with him. At this point, pretty much babysitting him lane. Arsenic saying, I don't need no support. I can do this by myself. Actually out CSing his carry player right now, 84 to 69.
Yeah, he's he did this with Howitzer the last game as well.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that, but yeah, he did the same thing in game number 1 with Howitzer. That's true.
Yeah, he just farms very effectively. His ability to creeps last hitting is so important in this game. We're starting to see a little advantage now for for Oxygen NA, 342 to 350 or 305. It's a slight advantage, but around this point, we started to see Oxygen NA take a lead, and they were 120 to 150 above for the majority of the game when it came to that. But they do such a good job at this farm. One thing we've always said about Imsco is his ability to farm. He's not aggressive like a Suki.
Yes,
he likes to play the long game. He's about that farm. He's about giving himself an advantage, and then when he goes into a team fight, he's a huge factor, and you either need to focus him down or you're going to get blown up because, one, his positioning is on point. The damage he's pumping out is insane.
Involved just very cheekily stole that purple buff out from a guy on meds. They thought for sure they're going to have it, but threw the fog wall up from the high ground in mid lane using the R2000 rocket, was able to pick it up right there. Over in left lane, we did just recently see that off lane tower go down. This is quite a far push into this tier 2 tower. They know that they have to back up here, even if no wards there. Their instinctual game sense is telling them, you probably shouldn't be here. Beautifully done. Strafe gets the long arm of the law. Not even necessary, but in mid lane, Imsco gets taken out. Involved, showing the strength. That R2000 rocket at 23 card points. Level 9. He's had that full level R2000 rocket, and this may queue up a siege for the tier 1 tower in mid lane.
Yeah, it was a good boulder. Long arm of the law. R2000 go dead. They should be able to take this tier 1 tower here. We've been talking a lot about Oxygen NA, but Ratpack Shane is a team we've seen a lot of. They've played together for a long time. Their rotations are normally are on point. We did just see a miss boulder from Bum there on a guy in meds.
Is going to land beautifully done by Louis. He barely had enough mana. That's all he can do. Colossal blow to try to get some space. Bum is taking the tower, but that's what you want. That's the target you want taking the tower, is your Rampage when he's in that enraged form, when he has that health regen. Beautifully done right there. Starting to see Richter, man. I'm starting to feel his presence here, Notch. Let's address Richter's build as well. We haven't done it. We've sort of neglected the deck that Louis has brought to this table with a hero we don't see that often. And not only a hero we don't see that often, but cards we don't see that often. That's a cast converter.
That is a cast converter. That card is such a strong card. It'll keep him in fights longer. What the cast converter does, guys, is it's 30 mana, and it gives you the mana regen, but that's not why you're picking up this 6-cost card. Consume 175 mana to gain 47.5 health regen. You pick that up as you pick up a river buff, pop that, and you can basically heal to full. So it keeps him in these engagements. It only expends a little bit of mana for a huge health return.
Yeah, it's 475 health, which on a Richter at this level is, let's see here, is, yeah, that's a third of his life. So
yeah, so he's getting most of his life back. He'll probably sell that within the next couple of minutes. About 25 to 30 card power. I expect him to get rid of that. But he's picking up that Pendulum of Lords. I expect both of these to be full health cards, to be completely honest, to give him that additional tankiness that he needs. And be in these engagements just a little bit longer.
He's going to look for Riplash right now if he lands a hook on an Arsenic or Namarty. Not seeing the opportunity, is not going to pull the trigger. One thing I have to say about Oxygen NA's draft is 4 of the 5 hitboxes of their team are very, very small and skinny. You have Sparrow, Decker, Gadget, and Muriel, who all have like the smallest hitboxes in the game. So Richter's, it's hard enough to land a good hook on moderate to large size hitboxes, but let alone when you're facing up against the Victoria's Secret draft that is here from Oxygen NA.
Shane, Ratpack starting to get it together a little bit. They're starting to be a little bit more aggressive. We're starting to see them look for kills a little bit more. Do you think they should have been aggressive earlier with this? I mean, I would have liked them to see them bully Ram Riddles in this lane. It is a Muriel, so bully this hero as much as they could. But they're starting to look for these fights. They're starting to look for engagements. With the farm being so good on the side of Oxygen, they are behind. Taking a team fight right now, is that the best call? Should they turtle up a bit? I mean, what do you think they need to do to come back? Not to come back into the game because they really are not losing the game, but to start to close the gap economically.
Right now, I think they just maintaining the status quo at this point in time. It's not that bad. Really, the only discernible economical disadvantage in between each player is Arsenic when compared to their offlaner of Crown. 30 to 27, but Strafe is at 27, Imsko's at 27. It's 4 to 5. The CS is only about 30 between the two of them. I would say that right now, neither one of these teams really has a lead economically. Map control has going back and forth. All Tier 2 towers are still alive. Tier 1 is still alive for Oxygen and A, but that's not much of a factor here at 21 minutes.
Right.
That's not providing much utility at all right now, other than just keeping the creep wave from pushing any further in. So right now, this is still anyone's game. I don't think either one of these guys have a lead. It's just still going to boil down to either one of these teams finding a chink in their opponent's armor, and that's what they've been trying to do.
He's trying to catch out Arsenic here.
Not going to be able to. That was very, very close.
So
Ramrose is here. I'm not sure. Is this off-lane Muriel going to be bullying down Crown? Crown's afraid of this off-lane Muriel, man. It's nothing to shake a stick at.
I mean, we look at the build. All adamant edges, full of minor casts. I mean, 4 of these with damage. You've got a Sage's Word with damage. There's a lot of damage coming out of this particular hero right now. You don't want to underestimate that.
Crown's going in onto the Muriel. Ramrill's getting away mostly because Involved is in the territory. Saw him getting away, but a guy on meds is looming. The ultimate electing to use Reversal of Fortune. I thought Ramrill's was going to be okay with a guy on meds rotating over to provide the heal, but more so maybe just to get over here to the Raptors and make sure that they're able to burn these down, as Ratpack has no one in the area, even if they know about it, to respond. Look, a Boulder did connect onto a guy on meds, but he's going to get himself out of there. Raptor control, I think, as at this point, when you have these stalemates, Raptor control is who dictates the economical advantage, and every single time those Raptors have gone over to Oxygen and A.
They wait till all 3 Raptors are spawned, and then about the 15 to 18 minute mark, depending if they can, they rotate over, they pick up all 3, and then every 4 minutes, Imsko's back there picking those Raptors back up. I believe he's got all of them. He's sitting at 31 card power. That's what's giving him not a huge lead, but a slight lead over Strafe, who is farming much more effectively this time. Last time we saw Imsko with a much higher creep score. Right now, it's Strafe who's sitting at 118, while Imsko's at 89, which is very uncharacteristic of Imsko. And we've got 2 kills because of that long arm of the law. Again, that global presence with a hero like Murdoch being able to farm while still picking up kills and not having to leave lane makes that hero such a strong marauder, because he can kind of AFK farm minions and, oh look, watch this, long arm of the law, pick up a kill, and then just go back to doing what he's doing. And that's what he's been doing this particular match, is farming his lane, looking for that opportunity with long arm of the law. And it's what's kept him into contention, because he's not able to pick up the Raptors.
Yeah. In the words of Crown, he said Murdoch allows you to double feed your carry, AFK farm while sniping kills. That's his exact words that he said. So you get that double farm potential out of him. So that's sort of the sentiment, not only shared by which you so well said there, but obviously that's the way that teams play around him. Now, Imsko, he's picked up that Blink Charm. He's building into that Whirling Wand. We'll see the 10.1. If this is the same deck that we saw in game number 1, we'll see the Whirling Wand, 10 points into a 12 point. And at the very last minute, pick up that crit. We saw in the background, Bum jumped up, down from the low ground, maybe to pick up a boulder. But I have to say, Imsko has done a very good job at dodging all the crowd control on the side of Ratpack this game. Also attributed to the fact that his team has provided him this peel that he needed. Boulder get tanked up by a guy on meds. That's the Sevarog, so he's going to get Rip Flash as well into his silence. He's getting controlled, but really not much follow-up off the heels of that. Subjugate onto the Richter. A lot of damage going down. Reversal of Fortune is actually going to get knocked back right there. Long arm of the law on a guy on meds, but it's not enough. The Honor of the Pure is going to keep him alive, and Imsko's going to finish the kill onto the corrections officer of Richter right there. Down a kill, and as well as the fact that Crown wasn't really in that engagement, that's just Ratpack getting caught out.
Yeah, that was actually a 3v4. Kwong is on the other side of the map. Strafe was rotating back in from being at the core, purchasing, using his card power, purchasing some upgrades here. And so the fact that only Louis got picked up and it didn't go worse for Ratpack is a good sign. Yes, they have minions attacking their towers, but they're going to back up and heal, and they're going to get back to be able to protect this tier 2. So the fact that they only lost 1 is not horrible, and it's not their carry.
Oh, Crown went in there. The Raptors have been taken, but they're trying to force the issue, you can tell, but the peel is just too strong. They are going to be able to get away right there. It actually was just a guy on meds and Arsenic picking up the Raptors there, still getting farm on Arsenic. Gadget with that farm does so much damage, as well as a Blink Charm picked up, which was just recently revealed as to why Arsenic is still on the field is because of that Blink Charm. So this build on Arsenic is looking much more like a carry than it is a caster at this point in time, with just so much priority onto the damage as well as a Blink Charm. I really, really like his playstyle on this hero. Bum is going to get a kill onto a guy on meds, but is he going to be able to get away cleanly? No mana to pop that in Rage. He's trying to get the hell out of there. Emsko was trying to pop some shots off on him. Not going to be in there. So, Bum, that was a good job. It's been a while since Ratpack has found a kill at all. Bum invaded, found a kill under their jungler, and now no Sevarog for 50 seconds.
No Sevarog for 50. Let's see who controls these river buffs here. Involved was trying to pick it up. Imsko's in a lot of trouble. R2000 does lawn.
Woo! Oh, the long arm of the law, though. You get it's pretty good. It's pretty good ability,
blink,
man.
The blink.
I thought he whiffed the blink. I thought he whiffed that blink, dude. I was like, oh no!
That's not the fog wall. That's the wrong wall. Louis just missed that hook, but of course, the strength of long arm of the law. He is strafe picking up the kill there while still free farming this particular lane, pushing up to a tier 2 tower.
And we do see, yep, the positioning here from Oxygen and A, preemptively putting themselves in a position to to defend the siege coming down here, but not going to be the case actually. Bum and Howitzer, what they're doing, and Involve on Howitzer, looks like they're dewarding the Ord Prime. A little bit confused by that. I thought this was a great moment for them to consolidate, group up, and really start to affirm themselves on the map, but instead they're spreading themselves across. And I think right now we're just trying to push waves out and maybe look for a secondary objective after those kills, because they got 2 kills within a short amount of time and have nothing to show for it.
So I've seen chat ask about it a couple times, and I'm actually a little bit curious. Why do you think they picked Richter over Narbash? I think Narbash, correct me if I'm wrong, Shane, but Narbash I feel has a better curve. He's got Thunk, which is such a great stun. Crash Bang Boom is fantastic. He's got a speed boost. He's got healing. He's got an ultimate that slows. I mean, is there a particular reason you think they picked this hero over Narbash? I personally don't know. I'm wondering if you have any insight, because I have no idea why you prioritize this hero over, in my opinion, a better frontliner.
I'd imagine it comes down to scaling. Narbash doesn't scale and isn't as tanky as a Richter. Richter can take much more damage. Bum is into the containment fence. There's that Riplash right there. You were asking about why we didn't see Narbash. How about that for an answer there, boys? Bum's going in there. Boulder is on cooldown, so he's not going to be able to land it. All the meanwhile, Emsko was taken out by the tether, by Crown. Going in there, using that Fury of the Heavens. So Ratpack, they got 2 kills, sort of right after another. Weren't able to get much off of it, but now they got those 2 kills in succession here. The Gadget is the biggest tool they have at dealing with pushes. She's off the field. No carry to deal with as well. They have to play careful. The Blink Charm forward. Riplash, guy on meds, went right by him there. Louis actually didn't use the Riplash. It's still available. The ultimate from Skewer, I believe, is available as well. Guy on meds is very low. Reversal of Fortune has been queued up. They focus down Ramros. They're trying to get him down. Can just a little bit more damage to subjugate. Is it enough to keep him alive? They actually turn it around and Bum goes down. And now here we go. Muriel and Decker, the double support Involved. Does turn around. Crown gets him. Cuts him down. You measure once, you measure twice, you cut once. And that's going to be the case for Crown. That's 4 kills. Very close right there. I'm surprised Muriel stayed alive for way longer than I expected. They were able to get a kill on the Bum, but they still gave up 2 more kills after that. Jump pads down. 30-minute marks. Ratpack are in prime position. And I mean that both literally and metaphorically, or prime is what they're going to be having their eyes on here.
So Louis answered the question for me, Shane. The strength of the silence, the strength of that hook. I mean, that was all set up on early pickup on Arsenic. They continue to get aggressive. We saw the strength of the silence come out underneath that tower there. They're able to pick up 4 kills. The inhibitor is taking damage, but Orb Prime, I expect them to go on the Orb Prime. I think they're taking a lot of time here. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. They're taking a lot of time, and I think they're just going to let it go. I think they missed the opportunity. But Louis with good initiation there and help setting up that push to take down the tier 2 tower.
The aftermath, taking a look at the numbers economically here. Strafe at 43, Emsko at 41. So Strafe 5-0-2 to Emsko's 3-4-0. It's still impressive with the KDA ratio between these 2 carries that Emsko has kept it within a 2-point discrepancy, but Murdoch, he's building into that crit. He has the blink shot as well. The Brand of the Iron Eater, 20 points of lifesteal, 12% crit right there. Another 16 on the Spear of the Rift Hunter. He has an Impact Hammer building to more crit there, so he's going to have a substantial amount of crit once he does hit his final form at 44. Not close to that final form, but this is really when Strafe is going to start hitting and hitting really, really hard. Imsko's power curve comes much later, Notch. It comes almost, you know, in the mid to late 50s there. So not only Strafe is ahead in farm, but he's now hitting his power curve long before that than of Imsko's Sparrow. Game number 1, the damage source from Oxygen and A for, I would say, 3/4 of the match wasn't Imsko. It was from the rest of his team. And yeah, they were, even if not ahead, a majority of that match, relying on your mid-game heroes as we transition to the late game to secure those kills, to provide you that damage that you need to take a fight. That's not a very good scenario going into this stage with the late game now on the horizon, and we're almost here. We're 30 minutes into the match. Marty pops the Honor of the Pure. Bum's going to get the hell out of there, and he's going to jump away of the high ground there. Louis still looming around. He is, I mean, only a level 9 Richter right now, but he does have that max hook. Marty has no Honor of the Pure.
Strafe has got to be careful.
He's got to be very, very careful here. There's the Boulder. There's the Long Arm of the Law. There's the Riplash. Reversal Fortune coming in. Is it going to be enough? The shield's going to have to be there. The Tesla Dome, the containment fence, and down go, just like that. The Richter and the Rampage. They are able to get the kill onto Marty, but he's done his job. Subjugate onto Crown. The Blink Charm away from Arsenic. I don't know if Crown has any means to catch up, and if he has any means of staying alive right here. Guy on meds is swinging the hammer. He's looking for it. Tether lands. That's going to be Crown trying to get himself out. Will he be able to? He will. Involve is here. Not much mana. Should have enough mana to provide peel if necessary. Not going to be the case. 2 for 2. Basically exchanging your front line, the Richter and the Rampage, for your back line support and your off laner.
Look at Involve. Look at Involve. He picked up the purple buff. He's getting the mana. A guy on meds needs to get out of here. There is... Oh my gosh.
Very tanky. Guy in meds is very, very tanky. 1 or 2 more auto attacks. Can he get it? No, Strafe comes in. And he gets the kill as well. That purple buff, those river buffs being a difference maker right there, Joshua.
Involve had no mana. He picked up the purple buff. There's like 17 wards. It's not like he was cleanly. You know what I mean? They knew it was coming, but it was a lazy back coming out of a guy on meds. He does get caught out, but that river buff, the power of that river buff and the regen of mana made sure that that kill was able to take place. Landmine knocks him up. Strafe with a good rotation back into the fight there and picks up a guy on meds. So, I mean, a guy on meds should have just walked away. He got a little bit careless there. River buff comes into play. They pick up another kill. What I don't know if you saw it or not, but in the jungle back here, it was Strafe and Evolve against Arsenic. Arsenic was trying to pick up the kill on Strafe, who was very, very low, and Involve with some great slow grenades. A good knock-up allowed Strafe to actually pick up another kill on Arsenic before he rotated back in and then picked up that kill on a guy on meds there. So good protection from Involve, keeping Strafe alive in that engagement. Strafe ends up getting out with about 27 health, I think, before he started regenning there. So,
yeah, it's
good
the power of lifesteal. The power of lifesteal, Strafe was able to disengage. I don't know if it was creep or if it was heroes that he was hitting. He has quite a bit of lifesteal. I mean, 20% lifesteal. Normally what we see is like 10 to 15. So that extra bump in lifesteal that he's elected to go with here in his deck, paying itself off. If it wasn't for that, he wouldn't be able to go back into that fight. And the guy in meds might have been able to slip away. But everyone's back on the field. These teams have stabilized. And as far as map control goes, Rambrill's doing what we expect him to do. But Tier 1 tower still alive 35 minutes of the game is not something you see very often. It's just now going to fall. But really, that's a testament to how well Ratpack has done at sort of mitigating that split push factor of Rambrill's. And really, the Muriel has been a factor in team fights. But as far as abusing that global presence, really haven't felt it on the mini-map. Guy on meds is going to get hooked up right here, but he's the guy you want to get hooked. He's tanky. He's very, very tanky. Subjugate is actually not going to land. Long on the law, onto Bum. We do hear a containment fence. Where's the follow-up Tesla Dome? Make it rain out down in the background. Guy in meds takes out Bum. This is not looking like a very good engagement for Ratpack thus far. Louis going to blink through the Tesla Dome, get a hook on the guy on meds, but Imsko's there, picking him off in the background. There's nothing they can do about Imsko right now, but the R2000 rocket into Crown, using that lightning into the fury of the heavens, and just like that, now they're trying to turn this around. But can they do it? No, they won't. They're going to get Arsenic. But ultimately, they almost were able to pick that up and salvage the situation. But instead, Crown is going to generously donate his life over to Oxygen NA Fund. That's a 2-for-4 exchange. That really was just, Ratpack got caught out, and they had no answer for IMSCO in the back. IMSCO went completely unfeathered in that team fight.
Yeah, they got caught out, but the rotations came in very slowly, one at a time. They were able to pick up those kills. IMSCO doesn't have lifesteal yet. A guy on meds was very healthy, so they make the right rotation over to pick up the Orb Prime. Marty Rivia and Arsenic don't have these, but your big IMSCO, the guy you want with your Prime, has this picked up. He's going to back up. What is he sitting at card power-wise? 53 card power. I mean, are we going to start seeing him put crit and lifesteal online now?
Oh, man.
Because of where he's at.
I think
Whoa.
Involve forgot about mana and blinked into a situation where he was going to take out a guy on meds, but when you build, that's sort of the disadvantage of building Howitzer in the way that Involve has done. He has no mana regen except for the 0.3 mana regen on his Teleblink, and as well as he has the Hydroverser, so he's lacking a great amount of power due to the nature of that card. And a guy in meds pretty much was just handed Involved on a silver platter right there. An uncharacteristic misplay out of him, so those staggered deaths right now, Notch, with up the death timers being 70 seconds, there's going to be a window of opportunity for Oxygen NA to have a power play situations for about 20 seconds.
So while we have about 20 seconds, let's take a look at the builds here. A guy on meds is building very tanky Snakevine Mesh minor barriers, Splinter Bark with beta health and beta barriers, Elder Mage with healths, Swift Creek Heart with some attack speed, and of course the health completion on that, and a spiked bone plate with guards. He's building full tankiness, relying on his subjugate or his siphon to be a main source of damage. He's currently sitting over 140 stacks. You can tell by those sexy shoulder pads he's rocking.
That is, this window of opportunity for the power play that they have is dwindling down, but man, are they trying to capitalize on it. Inhibitor down to half, Orb Prime online, so those creep are doing a huge amount of damage to the inhibitor to fall. Louis now in trouble, popping that barrier will, stasis bomb into the subjugate, and now the sticky bomb as well is going to take him down, unnecessary, but a metaphorical cherry on top. We're going to call that right there. Maybe we should get a skin where it's a cake gadget skin and throws up cherries instead of sticky bombs right there. That'd be wonderful. You can go ahead and give me my royalties right now, Epic. Here comes the Make It Rain, clearing out the creep wave. Reversal of Fortune Arm to Marty. I think that may have been a little bit of a miscommunication. Containment Fence onto all three of them. Is there Tesla Dome longer than the line? Is going to take out Marty Riviera. There's the Tesla Dome. Strafe goes down underneath his own core. The Orb Prime is the big difference maker. So much damage being provided by the Prime card activation. A guy on meds. So many shields coming out here from the Muriel, from the Honor the Pures. To go down. Arsik is now just sitting there and so happy that he's still alive, and I think this is going to be Oxygen North America taking the game. The core is going to go down. Congratulations. Oxygen NA are going to move on to the finals 2-0.
I love that IMSCO down by, what was it, 7 card power at one point.
Yeah.
Evens out. He's now even with Strafe. That's the second time in an engagement he's just able to free cast. They just left him alone. They were focusing on a guy on meds. They were focusing on Arsenic, and IMSCO's just in the back popping shots off, picking up kills, dealing a ton of damage, and sticky bombs are coming in and able to secure kills. So, I mean, really good gameplay coming out of Oxygen. Don't want to take anything from Ratpack. They had moments of just awesome gameplay, good rotation, good engagement, but the long game, the slow push from Oxygen NA, they, especially with IMSCO, they like that farm, they like to play the long game, and in the end it always works out for Oxygen NA. So congratulations, they'll be moving on to the finals. Ratpack will be competing for third place here in a little bit. We're going to be jumping into another game. Shane, great first 2 set of matches for day 2 of the PCL. If you had a highlight moment, what would be your highlight moment from these first 2 games?
I think there wasn't a very specific moment that occurred. The highlight was just Oxygen NA's patience. In game number 1, they knew they had a lead, but they weren't reckless. They stuck to the game plan of just keep farming IMSCO, get the Raptors. We're on the Dawn side. We have that advantage. Then once they got that, that power spike was achieved where he got his crit at like 55 card points, like half an hour into the game, they just pushed down mid and won.
Yeah.
There was more to it than that, but it was just the overall display of patience. Game number 2, they were at a disadvantage. And a great test of teams' patience discipline, and discipline is when you're behind economically on map control and every metric that you can possibly measure. They still displayed patience. They still stuck to their game plan of abusing that global presence that Muriel has, only fighting around reversal of fortune, trying to maintain map control. It was hard to do because they were losing fights a majority of that match. But the moment that IMSCO hit that power spike, they got to that power curve they were looking for, same thing. Game number 1, they were ahead, still remained patient. Game number 2, they were down, still remained patient. And I think patience is their strong suit, and one of the reasons why they were one of the favorites coming into it, and now one of the favorites to win it all as they have moved on to the finals.
Yeah, excited. We're going to be casting Organized Confusion versus Carbon EU next. Thank you guys to the community for continuing to support the Paragon Competitive League and Paragon as a whole. If you guys want to support these teams, you guys can head over to the Matcherino to do so. !Matcherino in chat. We're at $215. Thank you guys so much for that. We do still have these backer rewards, mechanical keyboards, monitors, headsets, and some Soylent, which is, I believe, is it an energy drink? Is it a meal replacement, Shane?
It's a meal replacement.
Meal replacement.
And it's awesome. I've been using it when I was a full-time paramedic, working 24-hour shifts, not even have a moment to stop. Those things were godsends on my truck. When you just don't even have time to eat in between calls, I'd pound one of those down, I'd be starving, I'd be good to go. So for those of you that live really busy lives, I'm not saying it because like a sponsor or anything, I'm just saying because I'm a very big proponent of that stuff. It's really, really good for those of you that live really busy lives.
Guys, I'm Another Notch. That's Twin Blast. We're going to take a few minutes. We're going to jump into game number 1, Organized Confusion, which put on a very impressive games yesterday, and Carbon EU, which is one of the best teams in the competitive scene currently. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Shane, I'm excited.
Stay tuned.